Welcome to Pat's Cast, the unofficial Regina Pats podcast. I'm Matt.
I'm Chris.
And this is our episode for July 1st, 2019.
I'm Peter Lubardius. You're listening to Pat's Cast with Matt and Chris.
Okay, it's kind of our midsummer special here. We were thinking we would do one after the import draft and schedule a release if there was some significant news to talk about, and it turns out there is. We'll get right into the import draft. So the question was going into it, are we going to keep any of our both our guys, get rid of one? I think you and I both shared the idea that probably Alkimov was the guy on the bubble. Mostly because of the high pick we did have at 7th overall. So what was it, the day before going into the import draft, we saw this start to come together with Sergei Alkimov being moved over to Vancouver along with a 6th round draft pick in return for Dawson Holt and a 7th round draft pick. Kind of a trade that killed two birds with one stone, really, freeing up that import spot as well as getting that third 20-year-old into the system.
I thought maybe they were going to wait on the 20-year-old because you can kind of wait for teams to cut guys in camp and stuff because, there's lots of teams with more than 3. So I thought maybe we'd take our time, wait till the season starts and pick up somebody. But no, they jumped on it now, which is fine. I mean, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, so. I agree. We both kind of saw that, how it would go out, but maybe this opportunity landed in their lap, and it doesn't sound like it's a bad pickup. No. So Dawson Holt, originally an 8th overall pick in 2014. Now, looking at his, I'll be honest, I don't really remember seeing him, but guy out of Saskatoon, so a little bit closer to home, which is probably good for 20-year-old season. But he's played 200 games, 25 goals, 51 assists. Maybe not the output you'd be looking for your 8th overall pick. But you were saying there was some health issues at the beginning of his career.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like. He had some injury issues and couldn't get going. But he had a really good playoff run last year with Vancouver going to the final. He had 7 goals, 9 assists in 22 games.
Yeah.
So, that's not bad considering he only had 6 goals in the whole regular season in 53 games.
Yeah, so he'll bring some of that experience and hopefully some leadership. Overall, I guess we'll see how it goes. We kind of expected to be a little bit later, but I'm not disappointed with this pick, I don't think.
No, and that sounded like the team was wanting to pick him up. They were happy with him. So
yeah. Another part of it is I'm really happy for Alkimov to stay in the league. He was a good player last year. I think we were both happy with him, and just to see him still have that, still be in the WHL, and I guess I don't know. I felt bad for him. The guy. What happens if he gets cut from here? I guess he could go back to Russia, but no, I'm happy to see him over in Vancouver with a decent team. So that was good.
Yeah, like he had a good year. You never know, first year import coming over, a 17-year-old. You're not too sure what to expect, but I mean, he wasn't bad at all. You could see he had skill. Maybe his skating was lacking, but the effort was there all night, every night, all season, right? So no, it was. You'd project him to be a 20, maybe 25 goal scorer this year.
Right.
So
I'm just happy we get to see how he progresses because I think he does have some potential. So it'd be fun to
definitely
be able to watch that. So with all these trades, opened up our spot leading into the import draft and our 7th overall pick. And anyone who hasn't read Chris's article for Dub Network, very good on our pickup. So to be honest, I'll defer this conversation to you because you wrote that, and I think you have some good insight on him. So tell us what you know about him.
I just did some research on him, and he's already over here playing in the USHL. He had a good season with Muskegon. He put up 16 goals in 51 games as a 16-year-old. So you know that's not bad at all.
And his name? Sorry, we didn't mention his name yet.
Oh, Daniil Gushkin.
Gushkin?
Okay. Something like that. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
Right. So, So, and it sounded like there's a bit of a rumor that we were looking at a Russian player that was playing in the U.S. and I threw his name out the morning of the draft, and I got lucky, and that's who we picked. So,
out of all the potential players, you picked him right out. So, yeah.
I have no inside information whatsoever.
Yeah, other than we were looking for a Russian in the USHL.
Yeah,
that was about
possibly Russian in the States. So
yes, yeah.
Who knows, right? So got a little lucky there, but and he's always played up age groups, multiple age groups, and he's a scorer. Yeah. It sounds like he has a pretty well-rounded offensive game, but you never know. WHL, it's going to be a tough league. How is his 200-foot game? We'll see how that is.
Yeah.
But there's a couple quotes on elite prospects here. Like, he's a playmaking forward, speedy, agile, excellent hands, sees the ice very well, quick release, and drives the net. So he'll go to those dirty areas. He's not the biggest guy. He's only 5'8", 160 pounds. But it's kind of similar size to Alkamov. He might be a little lighter than Alkamov was, but
yeah.
So we'll see. There's a couple highlights I tweeted out from the USHL. He had a couple goals.
Yeah, it's certainly a promising, at least from what we can see in the highlights and the stats and what we hear.
And he's on the scouts' radar. He's a potential top prospect for the draft next year.
Okay.
There's one service future considerations have him at 28 overall next year. So
wow.
Whether or not that,
overall, not just European skater, like how they sometimes split it up. Or would he be classified as a North American skater?
He's a North American skater. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Doesn't matter your origin; it's where you're playing.
No, 28th overall.
Okay. Awesome.
So, and then they also have Ty Smilanich at 20. So there's still him. He's still out in the weeds there, possibly for us, right?
God.
So, but that's a story for another day.
Yeah.
But man. So he's on the radar. He's got potential. It looks like he could be a 20-goal scorer maybe this year. Kind of what we were thinking with Alkamov.
Yeah.
And then, but he's a year younger, right? And I think there's a little more potential, high-end potential from him. So I think it was the right move. Moving on from Alkamov and picking this guy up.
I think so. When you have that opportunity at that high of a pick, you have to take it.
Yeah, you can't pass it up.
It's no slight at Alkamov, but
none at all.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm a bit biased, and there's some pieces coming together here already. Maybe not for next year's success, but who knows? In the next couple of years, we could be having a great team again. But I don't want to get ahead of myself.
No.
Anything else on Daniel?
Staying young, right? No, I think that's about it.
Okay. Another roster move we did was picking up Englot from Lethbridge. So we traded our 4th round in 2022 for him. He's a 17-year-old, played at Notre Dame, so had some exposure here to our scouts. I'm sure they saw him quite a bit, it sounded like, and liked his game. 41 points in 43 games, so almost a point a game guy coming over. So not a bad pickup there either.
Yeah, hopefully it can translate to the WHL season next year.
Yeah,
he did pretty well in midget.
Yeah.
Last year, so it was a second year midget. So that's he's had some time there. So it's probably time to move up to the next level.
Would he have played with Raker Evans then?
Yeah, he played with Raker Evans 2 years ago.
Okay, so maybe a little chemistry there in the locker room. That would be good. That was a successful team they had.
Put in a good word for him. So
yeah,
it was.
So the other news to talk about is the schedule release. Nothing too crazy. And I think there's a few more 3-3s I was counting through. So there's 4 coming up this season. I don't think we had that many last year.
Yeah, I don't recall how many we had.
Yeah. And then just looking through it, a couple odd little Monday games. They're kind of on holiday time though. One's December 30th, the other one's that family day. So maybe that's why you see those. A few Tuesdays, Wednesdays, there's 9 of them. It's not a ton of midweek games, which is okay. Again, the bulk being Friday.
16 total.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bulk being Friday, Saturday, Sundays. I was looking through the road trips. The Agribition one. So Agribition is November 25 to 30. And during that road trip, we actually play one of those 3-3s. I could see that being a rough, at least the Sunday being kind of a tired one. I think they finish up in Edmonton on the Sunday. So that's kind of rough on that long road trip. And
and we don't go west on that trip. Well, I guess we don't go to the West Coast on that road trip this year, and that's where we always have.
That's typically when you do it, right? So they don't do their U.S. tour until January, and it's kind of ugly. We play here on the 8th, which is a Wednesday, and then they play in Tri-Cities on the Saturday. And I don't know if it'll be a case again. They leave right after that game on the Wednesday, and they get there,
probably
drive all night. Yeah, I don't know. I guess you'd be there.
Yeah, you get there late Thursday.
And Friday. Yeah, they would probably want to do that to get a day at least off the bus. Kind of get their head straight again. Yeah. So a couple odd things like that I noticed. But yeah, you're right. It's typically they do their West Coast string during this Agribition break, but not this time.
No. I don't know how long they've been doing that for. I can't think of it offhand, but it's been last few years for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going way back, but... And the other interesting thing to look at is, so October 26th is the NHL outdoor game at Mosaic Stadium, and then our schedule reflects a home game on the 27th against Calgary. So you would think that's aligning, since Calgary's playing the NHL game. You think those things are lining up for a reason. We haven't heard anything yet, but I do know the Riders...
I'd be more surprised if it wasn't.
The Riders want them... I think part of the deal is the ice has to be out of there fairly quickly after. I think it's a bye week. Is it a bye week for them, or just they're away?
They'd be playing at home the weekend after, I assume, right?
Yeah, I would have to look at that, but...
Yeah, I'm not up on my Riders schedule at all.
There's a game going on right now as we speak, but
is it back on?
I don't know. Yeah, there's a shaker that came through here. It might be at halftime by now. But
I'm enjoying the nice weather in Maple Creek tonight. So we didn't get any of the rain or anything. So
it was on the Maple Creek, and Cypress was listed as one of the potential places for.
Yeah, you could see some rain
tornadoes
south of us. When we were in Alberta today, so we were coming home to Maple Creek, and you could see some rain south, but nothing in Maple Creek itself. So,
after what went through Meadow Lake, did you see that?
Oh yeah, I did.
So I don't think we have any listeners up there, but hopefully everyone's safe, and that was pretty devastating up there. So, so looking into next season, still some questions about the streaming and TV or online TV, you want to call it, deal?
Yeah, who knows? But I know Guy Fleming on the Pipeline Show, he's interviewing Ron Robison, the commissioner, next week. So there may be, maybe some insight. Maybe we'll hear something by then. Maybe a little tidbit or nothing.
Yeah.
Another thing is, too, the radio streaming. Stuff Current's going online only. They're not doing radio.
Yeah, a little
terrestrial radio anymore. Yeah.
Which I know I don't know if we've talked about it on our show or not, but we've talked about it a lot just ourselves about how Portland went to that style. And that's a big city. So Portland was buying the block from the radio station, almost like an advertiser. So they were having then to like sublet or whatever, sell out advertising to maybe get some reimbursement back. So you can see it from their point doing that, going to just online. And Portland's I would assume, a bit of a younger, trendier town, maybe a bit more apt to something like that. But Swift Current, I lived in Swift Current. It's not a hotbed of technology and progressiveness that way. So we'll see how it goes. The biggest shame too is Sean Mullen, their play-by-play guy, is no longer part of that either, which is a shame because he was with them during their run in their WHL championship, and he seemed to have a lot of passion for the team. So to lose something like that is that's sad too.
Yeah, that's disappointing, but he did land on his feet in Peterborough, so that's all right.
Yeah. Hopefully they can get someone decent to replace him. I don't know if that can't be a huge draw. They come to Swift Current and do online broadcasts of our small market team, but who knows?
Yeah, they've looked into the numbers and whatever, they think they can do it and stuff like that. So, it's the way that the world's going, right? It's going digital, it's going online only. Terrestrial radio is becoming a bit of a, not a backseat, but it's definitely not as popular now, obviously.
No, it can't be, right?
Yeah.
I'm glad we have what we have with 620. I really like theirs, but if the Pats that relationship ever broke down, it's nice that Phil's part of the Pats organization. We will hopefully.
Yeah, we wouldn't lose him.
No. So I don't know. Do you sit and listen to a game on the radio? All I do is to and from the games, the post game, and that's nice. But you can do that online just as easy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, because if I'm driving to the game, I'll have it on my phone rather than the actual radio. I don't get good AM radio reception in my car, so I listen to it on my phone already.
You do, yeah. So
yeah, and then I walk into the game. I'll listen to the pregame as I'm walking into the game. So,
yeah, totally.
Yeah, and then if it's a away game, we've got the package, so I'll watch it. I won't actually listen to it on the radio.
Yeah.
And if I'm busy, I probably won't listen to it. I'll just watch the game later or another day. Yeah. So.
And it's not like the Riders that you have provincial audience, that radio is maybe a little bit more necessary, or you're not going into rural areas either where people don't maybe necessarily have streaming capabilities. So, I mean, you're just really focusing on Regina and the surrounding area. So.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Swift Current, with it being such a small town, all the farmers and all that, they're going to have to be, or all the people out of town, they're going to have to hook up, listen to it on the internet, and I don't know how that's going to go with them, but
that's assuming
what's happening.
They were listening, right?
Yeah, right.
Anyway, just a bit of a shakeup. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the way it mostly goes, but it seems like 620 and the Pats have a fairly decent relationship right now. I mean, from our standpoint, just we have no insight into it at all, but
no idea at all. So
yeah, so we signed, of course, Leighton Feist, our first round pick, and then Zane Rowan, one of the Americans, and just recently Matthew Keeper, and also Marcus Taylor, but he was from last year's draft.
That's good because he'll be able to play full time this year.
Yeah,
right. So
yeah, absolutely.
That's a guy we can look out for.
I'm interested in the Keeper signing, just maybe a bit more of a signs of things to come of our goaltender situation and possibly moving on from someone.
Well, we did drop Woodside.
Yeah.
Right. So we have Pizzenti, and then the two 19-year-olds, right?
Yeah.
So Keeper could possibly be the goalie of the future.
Yeah, and the little bit we saw at training camp, he played well. He's got physical stats that seems the way goaltenders are going now, being taller.
we had the Pat Canadiens goalie listed as well. The name escapes me, but we just had him listed, and he had much better stats than Woodside and Pizzetti.
Mhm.
But I mean, mind you, the Pat Canadiens were a much better team than the other two teams
Yeah.
as well. So I know I was kind of looking, well, maybe we can sign this guy, but obviously he isn't interested in going the WHL route. Maybe he's looking NCAA. But
That was
and
that
then,
really
yeah,
tall
they-
guy, right?
can't remember
I
his
can't
name
remember his
offhand,
name, but yeah.
but then they dropped him off the list after
okay.
the draft here. After they put out the new protected list, and the Pat Canadiens goalie was gone. So obviously they couldn't. There was no interest, maybe on his side, of
Yeah.
coming here. So
Yeah.
they ended up dropping him.
Behind the
Keeper,
scenes.
yeah, with Keeper, I think he's probably the goalie of the future. We're probably going to move one of these 19s, and then you have Pizzetti's the backup for this season, and then maybe a starter next year or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
probably all sorts of irons in the fire. Paddock's out there working the phones.
I'm sure he's got it on his radar. He's got a plan.
Yeah, exactly. Because Keeper won't be ready next year. Goalies, they take a couple of years. So
Yeah, fair enough. So yeah, just speaking of the schedule again, did you take a look at the promo games they released?
Oh yeah, I took a quick glance at that, the promo schedule.
So this is kind of a question I have. And maybe for you and other people, other listeners, would you like to see more promo games, kind of gimmicky things, or are you happy with what? Because it like the ones are the pretty standard sort of things, right? The bobblehead night, breast cancer night, teddy bear toss, things like that, right? It's the most disappointing thing to me is that all these things they list are the first 1,000 fans, right? You get so the Nutcracker bobblehead would be cool, but first 1,000. There's a puzzle for the autism night, first 1,000. Jersey lunch bag, that'd be cool, but yeah, 1,000.
Yeah, see,
Like to
that's
see
the
a few
thing.
more.
The hardcore fan isn't going to care about what they get because they just want to go and watch the game. I'd say like half, the season ticket holders, they're going to the game no matter what.
Yeah,
This is more for the casual fan, to get stuff or to incentivize them to come to a game. You get them to come to a game or two and try to hook them, right?
yeah,
So, like me, I could care less if there was anything. It is cool though. They're giving away some stuff and try to increase the attendance. I mean, we had pretty good attendance last year with a poor team, so
yeah,
they want to keep the momentum going. Hopefully, we can stay the course with attendance next year.
hmm
We should have a better team. You never want to see attendance go down, but it is a possibility. It's a reality. So we'll see what happens.
I'm kind of torn. Like sometimes you see some of those other teams and they have some neat theme nights, superhero nights or whatever, and there's special jerseys. But at the same time, sometimes I think there's so much shit going on. Like,
Yes.
like during every little break,
During
there's
the-
someone yelling
yeah.
over the PA system about something, and someone sponsoring something, and this and that, and a lot of times it covers up the replay. You want to see the replay, and there's some stupid thing coming across the screen. You're like, okay.
Yeah, that too.
So I'm kind of torn. Yeah.
I know, like, it is obviously junior hockey. It's not a huge money maker, right? So they do need those sponsors. I understand it.
Yeah.
But I mean, even at the Rider games, there's stuff going on every break, and I'm like, it's the CFL.
Just never
like, they should...
never stops. It's just like
No, it doesn't, right? So
and where we sit, it seems to be loud. Those speakers right at us. I don't know.
yeah, I know. I'm there to watch the hockey. I'm not there for the other stuff, but people are there for the other
Yeah.
stuff, right?
But at the same time, I really like a full, energetic building, right?
Sure.
That
yeah.
fan appreciation night, the last game, was packed and it was fun, right? So I don't know. Maybe we're just getting old. Old curmudgeons here. The guys like thinking of those two Muppets
Yeah,
sitting in the
exactly.
balcony like we
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. But actually, looking at this promo schedule here, going back to the actual schedule, lots of home and homes with Moose Jaw, so that's kind of nice. We start the season with them.
Yeah.
We come out of the Christmas break with them, and we finish the season off with another home and home with Moose Jaw. So that's that'll hype up the rivalry there.
Yeah, that'll be good. Years. Totally.
Yeah.
I also noticed. I think we played PA on the 1st again. So didn't we do that last year? And that was the game we beat them in PA.
Yeah, it was right after that Christmas break.
Yeah. So speaking of Teddy Bear Toss, we've got a little thing in the works there, so that'll be, hopefully we get our name out there on that. We got something cooking for that one, so keep your eyes peeled that game. All right, anything else you want to go over?
I just wanted to shout out a couple ex-players. Braden Buziak, he won the Canalta Cup with Battleford's North Stars. So I just got to give him a shout out.
For sure.
Obviously a pretty good season up there, and they didn't end up going to the Junior A National Championship. They ended up losing to Portage, Nick Henry's old team. But, he was a solid player for us. And then, Then Jesse Gabriel, he's down playing in Australia. That's a little off-season because since it's winter there now, so he's playing there.
Okay, when you said that, I looked him up, and there's nothing listed. It said he's playing in Slovakia, and I thought, did he get Australia and Austria mixed up? No. So it's like an off-season thing down in Australia.
Yeah, because he was playing ECHL and AHL here, and then he went down there, and then he just signed in Europe, for next winter, for our winter. So
Jesse.
Matt Stroop.
I don't know if we talked about it, but there's who talked to him?
It was the PG one, we discussed that.
Yeah. Anyone who hasn't listened to that and is interested in Jesse and some of his story, he's got a story.
Outspoken.
Yeah. It was a good interview. We have mentioned it before. It was on the Prince George CAT scan, which again I think is one of the best names for a podcast out there. But very good interview. If you want to follow up with him, but sorry, go on with.
No, that's all right. I know Matt Struby went down to Australia as well. That's the first time I heard about Australia Hockey League. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And then, anyways, but and I seen Chase Harrison. He signed in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
He moved over to Europe after playing in the States for a bit. So a couple recent players moving on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
One more thing for the listeners, we're all about feedback. We're happy to hear what you think, and give us your thoughts on the upcoming season. Who you're excited to see, maybe the new guy, the new Russian. Stuff like that. We're definitely hit us up, give us your opinions. We'll respond to you or give you a shout out on the show. And
absolutely. Definitely. Totally like talking to people on Twitter and that interaction that keeps us going. And I don't know, summer's going to go by fast here too. It's already July 1st, and when does training camp start? Up right in August again. So
end of August, right?
So it's not long, and we'll be back to hockey. We'll get through kind of the dog days of summer, but get out for some golf and watch some baseball. I haven't been to a Red Sox game yet. You have?
Yeah, they're doing good again this year. Yeah. They're second. They were first overall, but they just went to Alberta. They lost a couple games. I think they're third overall now. So, they're always a competitive team. So, they're going to be back on the next weekend. They're in Alberta again this week. But, they'll be back on the weekend, I think.
Right on. So. Well, I'm glad we had something to talk about. Some fairly significant news, I think. Teams starting to come together, hopefully for a bit of a better run next year. I think so. My expectations are moving up for them. Yeah,
we can challenge for a playoff spot, I think, this year.
Yeah, certainly be in the mix. Nothing much between now and training camp, though, hey?
No, I don't think so.
No.
So I don't think probably won't have anything out until training camp, after training camp.
No.
So.
Okay, well, keeping that in mind, you guys have a good summer, and we will talk to you in August.
Sounds good.
All right. Good night.
Have a good night.